Chapter 21a. We return home victorious. But before long, the joy was replaced by concern and, as far as I was concerned, curiosity. An irrepressible desire to know. I've got to know exactly what's in those secret files. Well, let's get down to business. I say with a serious look and add. We'll find out. And then. Suddenly, the atmosphere turns icy cold and a deep sense of unease grips us all. I transmit the data to the home automation network. The light fades, the sofas change position. Opposite us, a wall screen lights up and the following message appears. Data encrypted. Information inaccessible. We're not surprised. Jacques orders the unlocking procedure to begin. A few seconds later, a menu appears. Basis of Epoxia conflict, Major Seïndi's rebellion, state chart. Gabriel stands up. He stamps his feet. I too step forward and join hands. We're both tense and attentive. I order the chart to be read. Major Seïndi's rebellion. Our father's photo appears, accompanied by a civil status sheet, details of his physical characteristics, a full career history, military functions, rank, combat performance, decorations obtained, etc. We fly over the form. I select the Facts function. A text immediately unfolds before our eyes. A voiceover reads it to us, while immersive photos alternate with various shots and filmed images. The narrative is as follows. It's 10:24 p.m. on Thursday, May 16, 2110, and Major Seïndi is scanning the horizon with his binocular detectors. It's worth remembering that at this time, 40% of military personnel still possess their carnal form. The Major belongs to this category. The attack sections to which he belongs are on the outskirts of Connecticut, the Grullian megalopolis, our enemies. The orders are clear. The main objective is to breach the enemy's defenses, which consist mainly of latest generation mega-boozers. Major Seïndi has already laid out his men under thick camouflage, ready for the assault. He has some 20 men under his command, all equipped for the occasion. Through his binoculars, he observes the Epoxian army rigorously distributed around the targets. Connecticut is a city with clean, precise contours, forming a perfect oval some 100 miles long. Around the city, 600 boozers form a solid, effective rampart. Opposite these machines are 600 sections identical to Major Seïndi's. After a phase of violent fighting, a ceasefire was declared by the commanding officers. Silence returned, prelude to the roar of the real assault. This time, only the men will go into battle. All the soldiers are tense. Some are gripped by intense fear. At 10:30 p.m., a cry echoes through all the headphones, sections attack. Immediately a deafening roar is heard. From the field of ruins left by previous assaults, the combat sections suddenly emerge. Seïndi points to the boozer and orders, "Let's go." All leap forward at once, a warlike rage seeming to multiply their strength tenfold. Immediately, they rise, float in the air and speed off. Beneath their bodies, a device of plates uses the Earth's magnetic forces to break gravity. Thrusters on their belts give them excellent mobility. Their armor has solidified to provide stability. In their hands, ergonomic retractable handles control certain functions. The essentials are managed by thought. With such equipment, each individual is a veritable aircraft. Seïndi accelerates and places himself at the head of the right wing. By telepathic control, he orders the ejection of the decoys. The luminescent spheres eject from the back chests of each soldier. A multitude of glows appear around the squad, hurtling like comets towards their targets. What's more, they are a virtual replica of the soldiers. They emit information about the volume, heat, smell and appearance of the soldier to whom they belong. Thanks to this larger-than-life holographic army, the opponent suddenly finds himself attacked by a number of assailants 20 times greater than he actually is. The decoys literally melt into their targets. They are now only 2 kilometers away. The defensive boozer arranges its destructive booms into a wall of war, a veritable metal spider 160 feet in diameter, its body a massive turret bearing a multi-shot photon sphere at its tip. Each of its articulated legs is equipped with particle-accelerating ramps. This gigantic fighting insect floats some 30 feet off the ground, supported by massive anti-gravitational plates. The monster slowly rotates on itself. Soon, the first decoys are within firing range. At that very moment, Seïndi triggers the plan. Automatic salvo ejection. A multitude of shrill whistles escape from the back of each flying soldier. Some 400 self-guided micromissiles have just been launched at the target. Only a high-pitched sound betrays their movement. The incredible speed of their trajectory makes observation impossible. In a tenth of a second, the battlefield is transformed into a geyser of explosive energy. Bluish flashes erupt from the central turret, while micromissiles collide violently with the machine's force field in an explosion of lights and thuds. Despite the titanic impacts, the boozer remains intact. It fires powerful energy beams at breakneck speed, lacerating its virtual enemies. As soon as a protective sphere implodes, a new one ejects and replaces it. Seïndi and his platoon approach, taking advantage of the diversion offered by the decoys. He orders, split up on one flank, eject the domes. The group then quickly lines up for 100 feet while each soldier is surrounded by a force field identical to the one protecting the boozer. The strategy is based on section cohesion. Every 100 feet, a group of 5 sends out as many projectiles as possible. The combined fire of the 4 vanguard groups has breached the beast's shell. In each group, 2 soldiers are implanted in combat armor of sufficient mass and physical strength to use seismic cannons. This type of heavy equipment has the effect of imploding any joint, axis, glue, or weld. In fact, around a core of receptive material, a mass of very powerful frequencies is channeled and explodes the links by vibratory principle. The effectiveness of this weapon is formidable, but its size and weight reduce its user's mobility. The barrel, 7 feet long and 3 feet in diameter, weighs 600 pounds. As a result, when the soldier fires the gun, the force of the recoil pins him to the ground. To overcome this major drawback, pins grafted to his belt dig deep into the ground, and a magnetic link restores stability at the appropriate moment. The seismic cannon is clamped to the warrior's chest by a massive harness, and the user's arms are fitted into the sides of the weapon. Its use is reminiscent of that of a speedster, with the rate of fire regulated by the right-hand grip. The higher the rate of fire. Major Seïndi is on the right-hand side of the attacking flank, managing the men around him as best he can. Like rugby players, the 3 soldiers position themselves in support behind the 2 gun carriers, pushing them towards the boozer in a single thrust to optimize the effectiveness of the shots. For the moment, they are under heavy fire. A ramp has momentarily targeted them, imploding 3 of the spheres that make up their shields. Sparks fly from them. 3 new spheres burst from the back chests of the front-line soldiers, re-establishing the rampart. The temperature has suddenly risen, anchor up and warm up the cannons. The 2 colossi send out heavy spikes that explode and plant themselves deep into the ground. A bluish, almost transparent line indicates the soldiers' anchorage. With their left hands, they operate a few functions, while their pectoral remote control does the rest. In the mouth of the cannon, concentric rollers reveal energy-gathering particles through various orifices. The faint glow becomes an ever brighter light, just waiting for the right moment to strike. The major orders the firing. Almost simultaneously, to their left, the other groups perform the same maneuver. A prodigious wave of energy hits the boozer head-on, destroying its force field in a blinding explosion of light. At the same time, in the headquarters, the mood is very different. Calm reigns and the warlords take stock of operations. Human soldiers analyze the situation on their screens and take the latest measures. One of them nods regularly 150, 160, 170. Here. 300, 540. 950, damn. We're starting to lose a lot of men, General. Don't worry, reassures the senior officer, we've got plenty in stock, don't we? An unhealthy smile lights up his ungrateful face. An apocalyptic atmosphere reigns on the battlefield. The major shouts to his platoon, hold on. Keep up the pace. He's going to break. Seïndi's troop is suffering heavy losses. 2 groups have just been wiped out by concentrated fire from the central turret, and the men lie shredded dozens of meters back. The impact was so violent that they were literally torn from the ground. The bodies are disemboweled, guts splayed out, skulls splintered, brains spilled and chests ripped open. Seïndi is furious, give it your best shot. The 2 cannons spit out their luminous salvos with prodigious rapidity, and the 3 backers support their offensive with their Mausers. Suddenly, a ramp is positioned in front of the group, showering it with heavy fire. The force field holds for a few seconds, then gives way to the left. The soldier at the front then has his leg cut off. Despite the pain and fear, he keeps his right hand on the grip and continues firing. Major Seïndi ejects his last protective spheres and looks up. His face suddenly lights up with evidence, and he says, up there. He immediately engages his rockets and takes off like a missile. Then he comes to rest 40 meters above the ground. Balls of energy burst from his hands and focus on the enemy's weakest point. His squad quickly takes over. The force field sizzles and the spheres begin to disappear one by one. A sphere protects Seïndi from a blow to the chest, while his nozzles restore his position. He unleashes powerful lightning bolts on his opponent, striking him in the heart. Its explosion causes a titanic shockwave. Most of the soldiers are propelled backwards. 2 of them are pierced by the device's debris. Seïndi spins for several hundred meters. He recovers with difficulty and finally lands. The boozer is unrecognizable. All that remains is a crude metal structure. Thick smoke billows from the entrails of the dead beast. Many corpses lie here and there. The toll of this violent battle is heavy. Victory has a bitter taste. Seïndi then contacts his HQ Major Seïndi to Central Command. Major Seïndi to Headquarters. Objective achieved, begin takeover arrangements. Acknowledged. We're sending the vehicles, so you can return to base. Bravo Major. The squad leader looks around. Some are still fighting undefeated boozers, whose force fields are struggling to give way. Section, we're heading back to base, assemble at my position. Follow my signal. Seïndi then lets himself fall among the metal debris and dust. He slowly raises the visor of his helmet. His gaze is lost in the nothingness of war. But already, the roar of the engines announces the passage of the takeover vehicles. Despite this, no joy, no smile of triumph lights up the Major's face. A few survivors appear through the acrid, shifting smoke, like strange ghosts. The losses on both sides were enormous. Delta tankers, arachnid tankers and jets swoop down on the enemy, giving them no time to recover. Fighting vehicles pour in with an incessant roar. Epoxia's army is the strongest. Soon the Grullian city will be wiped out. Seïndi looks away from the desolate spectacle. The outcome of the battle is now a foregone conclusion. He announces to the survivors of his squad, "Come on, let's go home." The soldiers reset their anti-gravity systems and fly back to the starting point. Their base, their HQ. Gabriel, deep in thought, looks up and questions me, puzzled. So what? Where's the betrayal? I reply, we're bound to find out. Suddenly, an alert sounds. The security program warns us exfiltration attempt. Exfiltration attempt. The file you are reading is trying to transmit your position. My protocols are momentarily blocking the message. I don't know how long I can contain this virus. Jacques speaks up, this is serious stuff. My security programs are the most powerful imaginable. If the central administrator indicates a danger of this type, it's because we really must be wary. What do we do? Do we stop? Continue? I question everyone with my eyes. Gabriel doesn't hesitate, keep going. Jacques says, I think we've got about 10 minutes of safety ahead of us, then we'll be spotted. Clara turns her head when I ask for her approval. I'll do without it. I'll carry on.